All right, guys, we finally pulled it off. Look at this. We're sitting,
and so far technology's working. This is so good.
Amazing. So we're sitting across from each other. Yeah.
I love that.
And for those people, those of you out there not joining us by video, they're just listening. We are sitting with dear friends of ours, remotely, unfortunately. This will be one of those podcasts we'd love to have you guys sitting across from us, but we're going to take the next best thing and to have you here on screen. Yeah. So, everyone, welcome, Tom and Karen Friedrichs. I hesitate to just throw like a few sentences of what your ministry is about out there without giving you the opportunity to say, okay, this is kind of what we're doing. And so giving you the chance to introduce yourself would be a better way to go. And then Colleen is going to explain how it is we even know you guys, but you first. Welcome, by the way.
Good to be here.
Thanks for having us.
There.
Absolutely.
Here. Yeah.
Here's my elevator speech.
Okay.
We believe that a broken world needs healthy and effective ministries and churches. Mm-hmm. And to have healthy and effective ministries and churches, we need healthy and effective leaders, pastors, missionaries.
Yes.
And so we come alongside those leaders, both by offering retreat here at Broom Tree Landing, and also through coaching via Zoom or in person or whatever form it takes, telephone, smoke signals.
That's perfect.
I haven't tried that yet.
No, you should. An ancient way to communicate. You know what, though? I have to say this, because when Colleen joined me, I'll say full-time. We're always in full-time ministry, but at least under the, Embracing Brokenness Ministries banner, one of the first things we did was visit you guys. And I have to tell you that, man, was that amazing or what?
It was. And he's stealing my story.
Oh, no. Go. I was introducing your story.
He's stealing my story I wanted to start with.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Well,
so
it's
just
both of your story together.
Yes.
To introduce who Karen and Tommy are to me, we met Karen not far after our fall freshman weekend when we went to Messiah College, which is now university. We had mutual friends, and so it probably wasn't too far into freshman year that we would have met. And Tom, sorry, I'm going to always go back and call you Tommy from the college days, would have met right around that time too. And so interesting to have friends. I'm not even going to name. We just had my 40th high school reunion, so college was a long time ago as well. To think about, there was this touch point, of God connecting us way back then. Life kind of took us on our own path, so we didn't really see each other, maybe joined Facebook and connected in some way. But it was fascinating that you guys moved from way up on the border of Canada, up in Vermont, and came down to Virginia at around the time and reached out to us, which was such an incredible blessing, just to say, we were praying and we want to offer you guys retreat, like ministry retreat. I was still working in homeless ministry. We had come off COVID, which I'm now realizing was beyond exhausting for me and for Steve. And unbeknownst to us, when you guys reached out, I would tender my resignation at that ministry 2 months later. And that the date, as we went back and forth trying to select a date, the date ended up to be like the weekend after I had just finished up. So I had given a longer notice. And so we didn't even, know. We knew about your ministry from kind of following you a little bit, but we got to experience your ministry and not even thinking that we needed it at the time, because I think, again, we're kind of like, this is exciting, we're launching into this new thing, but just to experience the presence of your home, which was so safe and inviting. Anybody who knows that I can cook and I love to cook, Karen is, and Karen and Tommy together, like cooking, like they blew us out of the water, like food and fellowship, sitting together around a meal, many meals. It just was incredible. I remember us going out fireside, and maybe we made s'mores, or I made that up in my head. I love s'mores, so it feels like we did that. But and, and your dogs were running around, and there was a neighbor dog that I wanted to bring home. My husband said no, but I mean, it just was so peaceful. We went out on your pontoon boat and just enjoyed nature. And then I had brought a bunch of things, as did Steve, for just kind of like individual retreat time. And I can just remember like coloring and drawing. I'm not an artist, but like just sitting out in nature in this incredible beauty that is your property, and just finding a restoration that I wasn't even aware that I needed. And then the last night, I remember, I think I kept everybody up. Well, my husband went to bed, but the two of you who Karen needed to be up at like 5 a.m, and I probably had them up till almost then, like just purging stuff that had been in me for years and years and years, having this connection back to where some of that pain occurred in a college relationship, and being able to just purge myself and have people that invited the conversation, ask good questions, were with me in it. Like, I'll probably start crying right now, was just very, very restoring. It was like, we didn't come with an expectation that we needed to be refreshed, which I know a lot of people come to you and they're like, yeah, we desperately need something. But even in our, hey, let's go be with these guys and, develop this friendship and ministry, ended up really, really ministering to us. And it was just beautiful. And so thank you for that. But I think because of that too, and that connection, we just, we couldn't say enough positive things about who you each are as individuals. You're phenomenal as a couple. And yeah, love being connected to you as a ministry.
I think we just got a testimonial recorded on video.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
We can edit that for your use in any way you'd like. Man. I echo that. I'm not sure I could have said it better, but hey, it actually was funny. I was just thinking, Karen, you at the time, you guys weren't together full time doing what you're doing, right? You were still working, right?
Yeah, I was working full time in a regional healthcare position, and also hosting. And I look back now and I think, how did I do that?
Yeah.
How did I manage having guests coming and going and still managing a more than full-time job?
Yes. Yes.
And so absolutely loving it now full-time.
Yeah, what a blessing.
I feel like I've hit my sweet spot for sure.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. And that's been for how long now? You've been
since last April, so a year and a half.
Oh gosh. Oh man.
Yeah, year and a half.
It's funny because I remember we had made the decision to basically become missionaries. I mean, there was no income, no healthcare, no anything, as we stepped out.
You understand.
And I remember praying with you guys about your desire to do it, which extremely necessary considering all that you were carrying. But here, an interesting segue even into talking about provision. What an interesting thing. If anybody takes anything like church, or readers about provision, it's amazing to me, those of us that do parachurch ministry that kind of go, oh, but we still got to keep our day job because we can't afford. And we're in such a critical time, I believe, in history. We're watching revival sweeping across the world, and we're seeing it in our young people. There has never been a time where there's going to need to be incredible discipleship, where we've walked away from a biblical worldview in the United States in a huge way. And we're really needed to go, we need to throw off all those things that bind us, that take us away from what God has called us to. And so I think this whole conversation about provision is essential, because your story and watching what you were walking through meant you were limited somewhat in your capacity. But because you're a person that desires excellence, you were giving it all both places. And that's just not what we're called to do. I mean, I think we need for people to hear, we're willing to go be the hands and feet, and everybody needs to do that in whatever their context is, but we're willing to do it full time. And we do need people to say our part is to contribute to that work, so we don't have people that are trying to balance all of this.
Which actually leads me to the greater question for either of you to answer, maybe both of you, because there could be a different answer for it. But how did this mission, if you will, maybe give us a little backstory on what kind of led you in this direction?
Yeah, it really started kind of out of our own need. I think it was around 2008, maybe, and I was just at a point of feeling pretty burnt out. And our church was able to give us a sabbatical. It was actually already planned, but we moved it up. Okay. We didn't quite make it. And so in planning that sabbatical, it was really hard in New England to find like a place to go to just for finding resources. We ended up going out to Colorado for a week, and then I just kind of rented some places, little cabins,
okay.
you know, and but we kind of came out of that, definitely restored. She wasn't able to be with me again because she was working, so she would come down on the weekend, and during the week I spent a lot of time just swinging in a hammock and listening to an audio course by Eugene Peterson, and you know, trying to get some input into my life. And did have like before I went on sabbatical, I met with a counselor because I felt like I don't want to just spend sabbatical figuring out what's wrong. I want to know what's wrong ahead of time and spend sabbatical on fixing it.
And you were pastoring a church at the time, right?
I was pastoring a church, and we're actually in a season where I was kind of pastoring two churches, and we were looking towards another pastor burnt out, and district superintendent was like, would you think about pastoring this one with an eye towards maybe going multi-site? And and I was like, okay. Little did I know the drama that would cause. And so, yeah, that led to that. But we came out of that going, man, you know, we really needed this. We felt restored. We came out of that sabbatical into one of the most fruitful. Thank you. Most fruitful
She's a grammar
seasons of ministry that we have experienced. But we also came out with kind of on our heart was, man, there needs to be some place like what we went to in Colorado, in New England. And someday when we retire, we're gonna do that. Because by that time I'll have something to say to pastors because I've done it long enough and all that. And God just pushed up the timetable on us because we're still years away from retirement.
Right.
But we ended up leaving Vermont because for Karen's health and coming to Virginia. But interestingly enough, probably still 25-30% of our guests are coming from New England states.
Is that right?
Because though we aren't in New England, it's accessible enough.
Yeah.
It's not like having to fly across the country.
And they know that we serve there, so we get it because it is a different animal.
Cool.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So Karen, what were you feeling at that time? Same way? Like, was this a lot for you?
I mean, I feel like the Lord has gifted me with hospitality.
For sure.
That's always been a big part of who I am. And so I saw it fitting really well together, you know, in this type of maybe our last quarter. Our last quarter, this would be our mission together. And so that was planted in both of us at that time. But again, thinking it was way, way down the road. You know? Yeah. So.
And then in 2019, I was pastoring, and it was becoming evident that I would need to go bivocational because the church as it was not really sustainable. And so I started looking into coach training, got trained as a life and leadership coach, thinking that would be my side gig. But as one of the things, I wanted tools in my tool belt. So I got trained in the Life Unique gospel-centered life design process. It's based on a book Will Mancini wrote. And so as I was going through that, part of getting trained for it is you actually go through it. And as I went through that, I'm going, I think I'm supposed to do this other thing.
Huh.
Wow.
Like just that we dreamed about for retirement. And
Wow.
I think I came home and told Karen, and this is where we get into the provision part.
Yes.
The theme of this.
So he shares with me, I think the Lord is calling me into this shift and leaving my pastor position, like no longer being a pastor of a church.
Yeah.
Which struck fear to the depths of my soul.
Wow.
In that was like half our income. Like, okay, so if you're gonna do this, like, what is this gonna look like? And so I gave the perfunctory, I'll pray about it.
Yes.
I'll pray about it.
That's better than saying interesting and not saying anything else. That's the church. Interesting.
Feeling quite a bit of fear.
Okay.
And within a couple of weeks, less than a month, my employer, the vice president of the East Coast, called me and said, I'd like to offer you, or have you at least put in for a regional position with our company. And I had just been at the local level at that point.
Yeah.
And so I felt like that was the Lord opening. The farther I got into the process, I was like, okay, he's opening this door. Like our provision on my side was going to increase. And it would give us the ability to move anywhere in most of Virginia. Because we knew we probably, if we were going to do this ministry, it wouldn't be in Culpeper because we had a little townhouse. There was really no outdoor space. We had in our minds, we wanted to live on the water. Like we felt like water is so peaceful, restoring.
Yes.
And so that opened up two opportunities, the financial and the where we could live.
Sure.
And so that was the first step. I felt like he graciously gave me these baby steps.
Wow.
Because if at that point he had said to us, both of you quit your jobs, I'm going to send you to a place you do not yet know.
Yeah.
I honestly, I don't know that I could have done that.
Hey, that's just for people that we read about in the Bible, not us. Right?
Yeah,
that's right. That's right. That's right.
And not to make it sound like she was the one with all the fear and doubt. I was Mr. Faith.
Okay.
Because at one point, I did start my own coaching company, Advanced Coaching.
Right.
And I was like, I'm going to underwrite my ministry.
Yeah.
And God really clearly told me, nope, get rid of it. Not even like, I want you doing ministry full time. Yeah. Get rid of it. And being a man of faith, I said, God, that's a terrible idea.
Man of faith.
Yep.
That's a terrible. And he just has this way of making sure I can't sleep until I capitulate.
That makes sense.
Ended up getting rid of that, and God, we ended up coming under Oasis Rest International.
Okay.
Which is another whole story of how we connected with them. We didn't know anyone else is doing this stuff.
Yeah. Sure.
So connected with that great ministry and went through the training on how to use the ministry partner development software. And so next morning I go on to mess around with it, and there's already 3 ministry partners in there. I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Haven't even started like partner development at all yet.
Oh my God.
One was a huge gift that basically paid my salary for that first year while we raised the funds.
Wow.
And we were like, what?
Provision.
So
provision.
It just keeps, and and it was funny because that month, I remember the entire month, we were kind of worried. And then I go in there, and this money had been sitting there since the beginning of the month, and I'm only seeing it at the end of the month.
Yep.
And I'm like, this is going to be in a sermon someday because I mean, it's like God's got all that we need, and we're over here worried about it, and it's sitting there ready for us to use.
Yeah.
So,
don't you think? I think just hearing in your story something that we found too, which just is amazing to me, is we say yes to God. Okay, we'll go do this thing you're asking us to do, while we still keep our foot in the world system of, I got to figure out a way to fund this, right? And I mean, I think there are times where that is a reoccurring theme for us. And it is hilarious. Like, I think when we get to heaven someday, God is going to say, you guys are hilarious. That was the funniest thing. I have this money sitting there to cover it all. And I just needed you to say, okay, I'll give up my this consulting company that was going to fund it. I'll give you, and they'll say, did you not learn from the whole manna thing? Like, I gave you that in the Bible, inspired that story to go, just do what I tell you to do, and I'm going to drop it all down for you, and don't collect too much, and it feels like a recurring theme in our humanity that we're like, okay, God, we'll do it, but man, we better have some provision over here stored away. Like, I think that struggle with the way the world does it and the way the kingdom does it, like, you can just hear that, and how beautiful that when we finally lay it down, like, we get sometimes just like shockingly blessed. Like, how did that happen?
Right.
So I love the struggle.
Yeah.
So fear subsided, obviously, a little bit.
Yes. Until we came to the conclusion that the Lord was telling me to quit my job. The one that he had provided to us.
We relate.
Yes.
What is it with us? I don't know. It's like the Red Sea moment. You look back at the miracle of the Red Sea, and it was what, a few days or a week or two, and they're grumbling about it, ready to go back to Egypt. And you think, wait a minute, if somebody parted the waters for me and I walked through on dry land and the enemy got swamped away, wouldn't, like, that's good for life with that story.
Right.
I have all the riches from that land that I took with me, and somehow was allowed to happen. Like, but we do it over and over again. Yeah.
Such an encouragement, though, to hear you, transparently admit that, because for those of us in ministry, and I'm sure there are many people watching or listening in our audience right now going, and this is why we wanted to have you talk more about it, because I just don't think God operates that way. We were convinced when we started some business internationally, we were going to export all these food products around the world, and God, we were convinced, laid the pathway to it, and then it shut down, and we're like, because we were convinced, well, that's going to fund our ministry.
Yeah.
Well,
and it was something that appeared. It wasn't something we were chasing. It was something that chased us, which there is a trap in that too, right? That I've learned in life is sometimes what is coming to you that's like, wow, God, this is incredible. Look what you're bringing us, is actually not God bringing it. It's the enemy trying to foil what God has laid out for you to do. And
I remember we were down there too, Tom. Like you were still, you had a lot of questions. That was a few years ago, 2.5 years ago almost.
Yeah.
So take us from that point to kind of like how things then transitioned for you guys, and because I know you became clear, the vision became clear, I'm sure, after that too.
Yeah, I mean,
go.
So. Yeah, I mean, when we decided that God was calling me to leave full-time secular work. Yeah, we have a bug around our head. Sorry,
it's okay. That's a little devil demon fly interfering with the system here.
We just began to dream, like, well, what could this look like? And I think keeping that dream of what he's called us to, and then with every couple coming to us or leader coming to us, finding transformation, finding that safe place, it just drives us to really want to do this more and more and more, and
we're learning a lot. As we go. About just important issues, forgiveness, grieving. These are things that people are coming with a real need to work through those things. So
Yeah, and you're supplying
blessed us.
a desperate need,
Mhm.
right? I mean, there's for people for respite, for coaching piece, just almost sounds like it comes naturally because you're just in conversation. It's not like, okay, we're going to sit down and have a coaching session now. No, it's kind of like you're just in conversation. You guys, right now, I'm not saying you don't do that because you do. I've seen it. You have appointments and you get online and you work with people individually. But when they're visiting you there, it feels like there's a lot of things that just happen organically in that regard. And many of them are like, I don't know what the mix is of pastors or ministry leaders, but yeah, tell us, like, when you talk about safe landing place, yeah, expound on that a little bit is for your guests.
Yeah. We do, we have an intake form, and so they get to say what they need, and some ask for, the structured coaching session. But like what you're saying, what we found is everybody needs coaching, just some people know it. And so it's a little quicker because they also know what they need coaching around. Whereas the other people were kind of, you have dinner and you're kind of hanging out and talking, and eventually it bubbles up to the surface as they begin to trust more and share more,
and we let them know, like our first meal together, that it is a safe place. Like, we are apart from your organization. We're apart from your church leadership, your, district superintendent. The only things that we're required to report are if you're going to harm yourself or others, we are all those things that you've been holding and not being able to share. This is the place. Like, there's nothing we have not heard.
Right.
I feel like
oftentimes I'll tell them, hey, even if you need to cuss, cuss.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. If you're doing it in here, you might as well get it out here in the big bad world.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, squeeze that poison out.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, scripture says, if you bring it into the light, when it comes into the light, then it can be addressed, and the Lord can work and heal and mend and all those things.
I know this is going to come up later, where it leads, we would bring it up later, but I just want to say right now in this moment for anybody listening, in case, sometimes people just listen partway through or whatever, these guys are doing this for free. I mean, there's a suggested donation. They can tell you how that all works, but
not even anymore.
There's not even a suggested donation. Ignore me. The reality is they are opening their home, their meals, their coaching, all of that to say, come. There is no, financial requirement. And so that's why we need to support them. Because if you're just hearing everything I just heard, and then we get to the intake and we're going through the needs, like, you do that at a retreat anywhere, the dollars start adding up, what all that costs. And it's a lot. And so I just want everybody to hear that that there's no charge. And so if you are in ministry, or if you're looking at your pastor who, looks like he just put a finger in a light socket and his wife is 10 times worse, that's probably a sign that they could use some help, and there's not the financial barrier to do that. And so I just want to say that.
And we'll put links in the show notes too for you guys. Anybody watching or listening want to be able to communicate with Tom and Karen. And
you don't need to wait till your pastor looks like he put his finger on us.
There you go.
It's probably better to get there way before that.
We would much rather keep Humpty Dumpty on the wall.
There you go. That's very nice. Yeah.
All right.
Humpty should stay on the wall. I love that.
Yeah.
We actually on our social media page put out a PDF that people could print.
Okay.
As a pastor appreciation gift for their pastor.
Nice.
Even though it's free, it is free, but to say, we're giving you the permission to step away, not using your vacation time.
Yep.
Yes.
As a church, we are inviting you to this.
Nice.
That's beautiful.
And releasing you to this. And so we're hoping some people utilize that. Because we don't want people to wait until they're, my pastor's so fried,
Yep.
Yeah. Our pastor recently did a 3-month sabbatical, and it was like that. Even for us, I'm for sure for him too, but he came back a changed individual, somebody who we're here, we're already seeing and hearing reflected in messaging and also in leadership what that did for him personally. And it did open up his eyes in so many ways that he just hadn't thought about. So that leads me to this thing that you mentioned, this one word early on when we were talking called burnout. And that's maybe some people would think that's an overused term, but it does best describe just how bad things can get for people. And this is not just for ministry. It's people in the secular world. They just keep plowing away because, for a paycheck or whatever the reason might be, or maybe not even that because they have no other choice, just to be able to support their family. But in ministry, it feels, sometimes it can even feel more heavy because you're taking, and I'm not saying people don't take their work home, but there is a burden we carry, and as we walk with others through their own healing journeys or whatever that looks like, it can really land heavy, right? And you as a pastor, Tom and Karen, doing what you do, experienced it yourself. How has that looked when folks show up with you? Could you describe that a little better, or what the benefit might be even of what you guys are doing to help negate that,
I'm thinking right now there's a couple that's coming very soon.
Okay.
A pastor and his wife, and on their initial request form, he just said, I've lost my joy for doing this. Like, I've lost my love for my people. I'm so fried and so when you hear those kind of terms, that's burnout. Like when you've lost your joy to do for the call that God's called you to do, when you stop caring about people, and you're a pastor. Like if you stop loving and caring for your flock.
That's a big sign.
That's a sign.
You get cynical.
Very cynical. Okay. Cynicism. It's another one.
Wow.
That we see.
Yeah.
Looking for.
And it is.
Go ahead.
It is. I I try to advocate for pastors for things like sabbaticals. Yeah. Because churches don't always get it. There's always one guy on the board's like, well, I don't get a sabbatical.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, well, you're the reason he needs one.
Well, and your last name being Friedrichs, is that German by any chance?
Yes.
Well, there is this sort of, and we're outside of Philly, Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. There is this work ethic that says, "Oh, what are you kidding me?
Yes.
Like, no time off, man. The fields need to be plowed, baby."
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But what I share with them, I usually say, how many of you parents? And they're like, "Oh, yeah, I'm a parent." I'm like, "Is this statement true? You're only as happy as your most miserable child."
Oh gosh.
And
wow.
Everyone's like, oh, they totally get that.
Yeah.
But then I say, so the thing you need to understand is your pastor, like, all right, if his own children are 10, the rest of you guys are only like a 4, but there's over 100 of you.
Yeah.
And so he's always carrying the weight of your lives.
Yeah.
And even with what we do now, I started really feeling it a couple of months back because there were a couple of things that overlap, but part of it for me was carrying the weight now, not of congregants, but of these ministry leaders and what's going on in their lives and the stories I hear. Yes. And we oftentimes get to hear about the dark underbelly of the church and of mission organizations.
Yes.
And it's, my heart is always, since I've been in ministry, been for the church. Yeah. My dream is see the church be the church rather than doing church.
Right. Yes.
And then you see how it functions sometimes and it's ugly. And that can be discouraging and just make you sad. And so, we need rest too. I'm thankful we're part of an organization where there's a guy on staff and his job is to make sure we're healthy. And he calls us up once a month. We have a call. He's taking us on retreat next month.
Oh, nice. Great.
Because, and you're in a ministry called Embracing Brokenness. You know what it's like to to put on the hip waders and walk through other people's crap. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
It really is. Yeah.
am I allowed to say crap on this podcast?
I think I'm
We're in
yeah, you
Lancaster
are.
County, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not
there's
even a
plenty of
curse
that.
word if you say the real word in
Yeah, it's
Lancaster.
not,
we found that out.
Yeah,
But
apparently.
Oh,
But I'm going to have to remember that. That's a notable quotable, by the way.
yeah.
So, Karen, I think you mentioned earlier, and I don't know why this is just random, right? It's hard. It's like herding cats with these 4 people. So just in case, we're doing really well right now. I am so excited. But
He
you
doesn't
mentioned,
realize that I was trying to raise my hand to see if I could say something.
yeah, right in front of my face, but that's okay. It's you mentioned about like you're on the water, and there is something really refreshing about that. One of the things that talk about a way to offer respite and less burnout, like just get out on the boat and just cruise for a little while, like we did. I love boating to begin with. I did it when I was younger, but I think a lot of people don't understand just how it's almost like it's a Holy Spirit moment of just resting and relaxing. I'm sure you've had.
Yeah.
God didn't just answer your prayers a little bit; He gave you that too, right?
Yeah.
So
Pretty amazing.
yeah, it's beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful.
He's been very, very generous.
Yeah.
Very generous. And often I'll sit out in the front and just think, Lord, like, you really put us here. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, we would have never dreamed, like I mentioned earlier, I had always dreamed of a place on the water. And I was like, being in ministry for 30 plus years probably isn't going to get us a place on the water. Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh yeah, come on,
right.
for real. Yep.
right?
Yep.
So, yeah, I definitely sense his generosity
yeah.
and his graciousness to us. So,
Yeah. Even we were just at the 24/7 Prayer Movement National Gathering, and they were up front during the session announcing that they're going to be doing this praying pastors retreat just for pastors in April, and
in Dallas.
And I was like, I wonder if that's something we should offer to help with.
Oh wow.
And I was like, well, maybe, I don't know. You just kind of started thinking about it.
Sure.
What would that look like?
Sure.
The session ends, and well, you can tell that part. But during the session, there were a lot of prayer breakouts. So at one point, I was praying with the family in front of us, and she was praying with the lady behind us. And I don't know what all happened in that conversation. All I know is what happened when the session ended.
So the session ended, and the lady tapped me on the shoulder, and she said, the Holy Spirit told me that my husband and I are supposed to pay for you guys to go to this conference.
Oh,
All expenses.
beautiful.
She says, whatever you need.
Oh,
I was like,
beautiful.
So that seemed like confirmation. Like, I guess we were supposed to be there.
yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Oh, don't you love that? Again, a God story, God's provision story,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And thanks for that, because that's a great segue, because I'd love to give you guys the opportunity to, and you've shared a couple of your own. Is there anything that you I don't know, think back maybe at some of your guests or people that you've worked with that had a really cool story to add to that? Anything come to mind?
Around provision?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So this time last year in October, we had a couple from Ireland who came. Their ministry had unraveled. It was over, and they were pretty wounded. And so the first part was, they were like, "Can you do this discernment retreat that we saw on your website with us over Zoom?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I could do that. Let's set up a call and talk about it." And then
we got on the call. And you could just see the level of brokenness they were going through.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think, let me reach out to our ministry partners and see if somebody has air miles or something we can get you.
Right.
So I put out a thing, an email. Literally a half hour later, someone says, I'll pay for their round trip. And I think by the end of the day, we could have sent them back and forth 4 times.
Wow.
But,
Oh, gosh. Wow.
So that was an amazing thing.
Oh.
And then, this bug.
I know.
Yeah.
So she's
while they were here, first we processed their hurts.
Yeah.
We always go through
Sure.
and debrief and kind of talk through
Okay.
what happened, what they
Okay.
learned, the good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah.
And giving it all back to the Lord and saying, how do you want to use this? You know?
Mm.
And then we, towards the end of the stay, we started working towards the discernment piece. Like, what's next? Okay, so now what?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And he had a coaching appointment. And so I met them just one-on-one, and I was in the middle of my coaching course. So I was like being trained to be a coach. So I did one of my practice sessions with them.
Nice.
And it was called the $10 million question. So basically getting them to remove the barriers of stuff, finances, whatever.
Yeah.
Like putting that aside, let's dream. What God dream do you have in you? And so getting them to just list out, they had to list out all the things that they would do with this $10 million. And
Sure.
when it all bubbled down, we had to get rid of all the things like, I'm going to pay off my mom's debt, or I'm going to, you know, those kind of things.
Sure.
Getting to like the real passion questions. And they both had the same dream on there of purchasing a home that could be retreat space, similar to what we do.
Yep.
Wow.
Which kind of, I can't go through the whole thing, but
Sure.
it came out of their prior season story.
Yeah.
And so they had this huge God dream. Tom came back and we shared with him what happened. And he's like, okay, we're going to go shopping for a house. And he puts his phone up on the screen on the television and started dreaming big.
Wow.
And the next morning, you can explain the next morning.
Yeah, the next morning they were both so depressed because they woke up and they realized, wait, we don't have any money, we don't have any jobs.
Yep.
How is this going to happen? And she said she felt like the Shunammite woman when the prophet says, this time next year you're going to have a son.
Right.
And she says, don't even get my hopes up.
Yeah.
And so they were like, well, we're like, do you want to talk? They're like, no, we're just going to go into town, get coffee. So they go into town, get coffee. They come back and they're like giddy. So the first thing I'm like, it must have been Irish coffee.
It must have been Irish coffee.
With a lot of caffeine.
They put out in the Order of the Mustard Seed prayer WhatsApp room, or whatever. They put out just a prayer. Here's where we're at. Please pray for us. And again, like 20 minutes later, a woman who knows them messages them and says, I want to give you 200,000 pounds towards this house.
That sounds like a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, actually, was it euros?
Euros.
So it's basically like $200,000.
Right, close. Yep.
Which
Wow.
apparently other people got on board. So
My gosh.
They ended up with 400,000 by the end.
Oh,
Yeah.
whoa.
And they're in the process now of buying the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's provision
So-
stories.
Yeah.
And why do we doubt so much? I don't know. But then God shows up
Yep.
at just the right time. He's always showing up.
He's always showing
he's
up.
always here. We just don't
Yeah.
see him. But that's a great story.
That's beautiful.
Oh, man.
And it's amazing to see how many of God's kids sometimes it takes to accomplish what God has called us into, that, you know, God is working on so many different people at the same time towards a goal of them being able to have this retreat and whatever comes out of that. But it's beautiful. What we don't see is him working on the hearts of so many other people who are saying, boy, I would love to give money to X. And all of a sudden this prayer request pops and they're like, oh, there it is. You know, and so we always think about, at least for me, myself, like in the center of this, and God is working on me, but I'm not realizing, you know, how he's working on people that sometimes we can't even imagine who are going to be contributors to what he's calling us into. And I just love that. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good story.
We always say we cannot do this alone.
Yeah.
We couldn't because I'd have to go back to work.
Yep.
Or he'd have to go back to work doing something else. And this ministry,
Well, back to other work. We do work.
I know.
Yeah. Yes. You're not retired. You are.
Somebody's sending you a paycheck every week or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it, we just can't. And
Yeah.
the ministry we do is a ministry of availability as well. Like
Yes.
last week, I was thinking I had a day of just, prepping the house, grocery shopping, getting things ready for the next people. And I get a text from a pastor's wife, and she's like, "We need to talk. Do you have time?"
Wow.
And so it's that availability.
Yeah.
And he gets the same thing. He gets like, "Do you have time like now?" Like and so we can't do that and also have full-time other jobs. Like it's just not even, we would be completely ineffective.
Yeah. I've said
we
that
recognize we need it. We need others.
Yes.
big time. And it's funny. It feels like one of the spirits of this age is just incredible busyness. And I know that since I left, the paycheck kind of work, because this is really intense in its own right. The thing that's been amazing to me that I'll tell other people when they're like, "But you don't have money for vacation. You don't have money for this. Like, is it worth it?" I'm like, it's 100% worth it, because I now get to take advantage of those moments that God is calling me into something and I'm available to do it. And so, like, we're just saying, we find so much. We have formal things that we're doing, but our sweetest places of ministry are exactly what you're talking about, where you're actually can say, "I can be fully present with you." And we just, we carry the presence of the Lord into the weirdest situations. And even sometimes we're hearing from the Lord that, "Hey, take flowers over to your neighbors." And you're like, "Okay, I'll take flowers over to the neighbors." And I take them over, and she bursts into tears because it's her mom's favorite flower, and her mom died 6 years ago today, and she can't even believe. And you can say, "Wait, but this is God. Like, I wasn't sitting over there. I don't even know you to think that up." But the ability to hold presence for people is something that is so much a part of, I think, who God truly is for us. And he invites us into that. And it's really nice to have the space to do it. And I never realized how important that was until I got out of the demands of, I'm so exhausted from putting in 60 grueling hours at my job, and now I'm home. And there honestly needs to be time for me to rebuild with, my relationship with the Lord and get filled, relationship with my husband. What really is left, at the end of the day. And so it's fascinating that there is such a different way that I think when you're in that grind, you don't even realize. And the blessing in that is, I can give up that grind and getting a couple nice vacations a year, whatever it looks like, because every moment of every day I get to live in this beautiful space with the Lord. And it's just such a privilege to be able to do that. So
I think for the people that are your guests to be able to experience the same way a neighbor might hear is just beyond. And so I'm gonna quote somebody recently. So you send this email out, and once in a while I'll respond back. So from the guest book, this is someone who you may be referring to. We are absolutely beyond grateful. So we wrote in your guest book too, by the way. We'd have to go back. It's probably deep in there somewhere. Or another volume of it. We are absolutely beyond grateful for the huge investment you made in each member of our family over the last 3 weeks. I've been amazed over and over at how present, right, and attentive and truly thoughtful and sacrificial your love for us has been. Thank you for using all of your gifts and your life for this ministry. We have been so blessed. So I know you read that and you wrote it in here, but I think that sums up how critical what you guys are doing in the kingdom is for others who just are at a really tough spot, and they need to have that opportunity. So to kind of wrap things up a little bit, though, I'd love to hear from you if you have any encouragement or anything you'd like to offer to anybody listening to us or watching this podcast. I'd like to turn it over to you guys to kind of do that, and then we'll give you a chance to tell how folks can get a hold of you.
You want to go first?
I guess I would say just don't continue to struggle on your own.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Don't continue to struggle on your own, thinking it's just going to get better.
Yeah.
Good.
You know, that we're available. And even if you can't get here, you know, having Zoom conversation, just having that ability to unload some of the stuff and process some of the stuff that you're walking through that you can't otherwise with anybody else. So don't do it alone.
Yeah.
You know, don't think it's just going to get better.
Yeah.
Great advice.
Yeah. And there are other great organizations out there. It's not just us. In fact, you know, we're working under Oasis Rest International, but I'm also a field shepherd for Standing Stone Ministries, another great ministry that pairs seasoned pastors, former pastors, with a pastor who just needs someone to talk with. So that's out there. And I would say also don't go it alone, but don't wait until you're crispy. You know, we talked about keeping Humpty Dumpty on the wall.
Yes.
That the person who can control that the most, other than the Lord, is Humpty himself. And
Another notable quotable.
Just establishing healthy rhythms. One of the things that came out of my sabbatical was, I was like, I need to pray more. I'm going to just take one full work day every month for prayer, you know, and quarterly, I'm going to get away for at least 1 or 2 nights overnight. And I was actually talking with a pastor recently. I'm going, really every rhythm that God put into nature, into the universe, we should look at and go, what, you know, so, you know, he had the Jubilee. No, Jubilee's every 50 years. We can only really do that once. But, you know, the whole idea of the fields being fallow every 7 years, you know, sabbatical, you know, the lunar month, you know, doing prayer. We have Sabbath on a weekly basis. We have time alone with God on a daily basis. We have seasons, 90 days. They find, if you read the kind of the literature for business people and all, they're going, 90-day goals are best. They're way better than 1-year goals, because 1-year goals, they're so far away you forget about them until they've just become 30-day goals that you knew about. So just go think about those rhythms that exist and say, how do I build just being a steward of my own soul into my day, week, month, season, year. I think that's huge.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm gonna parallel on that if I'm allowed to. Is, you know, it's funny being in different kinds of parachurch ministry. And even last night we were teaching, and we had we have some students in a counseling program that have joined our class. And the question, and I've heard this question so many times, the question is, I'm not really sure that I really get everything I'm going to need to do to be a counselor. And so I feel like, you know, do I know enough? Am I going to be okay to do this? And I started laughing. I said, no, you don't have what it's going to take. And I said, here I am, you know, 35 years post licensure, and I don't have what it takes. And I said, I'm going to tell you my best advice to you. And I think this is so true. You guys are seeing things that we're not meant to see, in terms of when you're hearing these trauma stories. Like, God didn't create us to ever experience any of those. And so when that stuff's experienced, it lands on us in an incredible way. And when we're not equipped to do any of this restoration, we understand that it's through our spiritual rhythms, our disciplines, that we're plugging into the power source, that none of this is a surprise and fully has all the answers. And I said, when you get that you're never going to study enough, you're never going to have the perfect rhythms, because people are totally different, everyone who sits before you. But when you can say, I actually don't have the answers, like, this is shocking, we better go to the Lord, and you really learn what it looks like to keep your life plugged in and abiding, that's when we have something to offer. And so hearing you in that, and one of the questions that I know people always ask is, okay, well, they're in ministry, they're hearing all that stuff. How are they surviving it? And your response is, these spiritual rhythms. And just for our listeners to know that our first responsibility when we're in ministry is our relationship with God. Secondarily, if we're married, to our spouse, to our family, it is to have the rhythms that keep things in place. But there is no more important thing than to plug into the power source that is going to pour everything through to those individuals. And that's when we carry the presence. We're literally carrying the presence because we're plugged into it. And so, just wanted to add that.
That's a good way to wrap it up.
Yeah.
So okay. If anybody wants to get hold of you, how do they do that? Where can they communicate? Email, website, whatever you got for us.
Our website is broomtreelanding.org.
Okay.
Or you can go to oasisrest.org and we're under there somewhere.
Okay.
You have to search us in Virginia. You got to blow up the map and click on our picture. So you just got to look in Virginia. We're Broom Tree Landing.
But look, I mean, because someone listening might be from California and go, you know, there's one in California. There's at least two in Oregon. There, if you're from the Northeast, we're
one of the closest.
One of the closest you got. But there is one near Harrisburg, brand new one
in Pennsylvania.
So or email. You can email us at tom.friedrichs@oasisrest.org or karen.friedrichs@oasisrest.org.
And
or call, send some smoke signals.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
I'm working on a bat signal. That would be phenomenal.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That'd be really cool.
Well,
it's on the website. There's a phone number and email.
Okay, perfect. So I'll put those in the show notes. People have a way to get in touch with you by linking into it that way. And I think it's a great point, Tom, you make, is that, we got people around the world listening to this. If they want to get into some kind of coaching arrangement or some kind of help online, that's available. There's a lot of ways to get in touch. We're gonna let them reach out, and hopefully, if there's any need at all, it'll show up in your inbox. So yeah. All right. Hey guys, thank you. This has been fantastic. We pulled it off.
Yes.
Finally, we got to do it. This is amazing.
Love you guys. I'm so grateful for all you're doing for the kingdom.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for having us. And
sure. We'll be talking again soon.
Yes.
For sure.
Come back for retreat.
Yes. We will take advantage of that sometime, and maybe not the very near future, but like as your schedules accommodate and ours do, we definitely will be down to see y'all.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
This was another episode of the Embracing Brokenness podcast. For more information on Embracing Brokenness Ministries, please visit our website at embracingbrokenness.org.